Eileen, we are some of the very last to walk down this aisle in the iconic Massey Hall before it closes down for a 2-year revitalization. We love Massey Hall, and artists love performing here because of its warmth, its intimacy with the audience.
They do.
Why do we have to close it all down?
Because although she's wonderful and she's served us very well for 124 years, she needs a little work. The driving force of the revitalization, though, is to keep the key things that make this auditorium work. And that's the proximity of the stage to all of these seats that you see around here. It's also the domed ceiling, which right now is being held in place by chicken wire and duct tape. There's over 100 stained glass windows. They were blocked off not long after the hall was opened. They needed to buffer the sound from outside, and they needed to provide for greater sound in here. We've moved them all off-site, and they are being restored painstakingly, and they're going to come back in. And I think when they're here, it's going to look like a jewel box. We're going to be able to put buffering fabric on them to bring them down when a show is on so that we can deal with the sound effect. Some of the biggest changes, though, that people are going to notice when they come in are the seats. These seats were brought in 1948, and they were brought in when movie theaters were a big craze, which is why they sit back like that. These are all going to be replaced. We're going to be able to remove these seats and put them in under the stage to have general admission concerts, which is incredible. So up until
standing at Massey Hall?
Standing at Massey Hall. Not just standing, but you will be able to dance, Kelsey, at Massey Hall.
Oh my God.
Perhaps second to the actual auditorium, this is the place that a lot of people recognize. This is Century's Lounge, and this is the place that people come down to before a show or after a show. It is surrounded by signed photographs and posters from some of the most iconic shows that we've had here at the hall. And part of the task is, although we're renovating Century's, we're going to be introducing a secondary performance space so that young Canadian artists who can't yet headline upstairs can still play at Massey and can do shows down here. One of the things we're keeping, of course, is all of these framed artists' photos and many of the incredible posters that you see on the back wall, and reintroducing them all throughout the hall and through the space. This is the hallway leading into Century's, and what we have on both sides of the hall are panels which by decades celebrate some of the most important performances and happenings at the hall.
And the newspaper clippings, which it's just unreal.
Jazz was a really big thing at Massey, perhaps the most famous jazz concert ever. Actually, not just at Massey, but in the history of jazz, called the greatest jazz concert ever, occurred here in the early 50s. Louis Armstrong also played here.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. And if we just walk down here, we'll also see, again through the 50s and the 60s, a real array of music. We've got Joni Mitchell up here, who also played, but also classical music.
Thank you so much for having us, Eileen, and taking us on the tour. It's been amazing.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I know you guys are about to start construction.
We are. We probably have to get out of here soon.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to have to put a construction hat on, and we'll put you to work.
Before we go, what's in here?
Those are the artists' dressing rooms. So that's where the artists are right before, and then they head up here onto the stage.
Nice.
But it's nothing much to look at.
Okay. Well, thank you.
You're
Great
welcome.
to see you.
We're a pleasure. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
You want to hang out for a bit?
Yeah, I'm just, 1 or 2 minutes. Yeah,
All right.
I'm just gonna go in. Oh my gosh, I mean, the legends who have stood right here. This is where all the performers go right before they hit the stage. I mean, I think I gotta go look at the stage one more time. I gotta do it. Oh my God, you guys, the stage. I gotta do it. I gotta go. I'm gonna regret it forever if I don't. I gotta do it. I gotta do it. Fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter or Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, darling, kiss me. Boo-ba-da-ba-ba-da, fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. You all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, I love you. I love you. Massey Hall, call me in 2 years.
You better say. You better say.
That was one of those moments like, it was going so well in my head, and then I watched it back later and just went, oh, what did I do?
That was amazing. This was an historic venue.
Well, that
Massey
was
Hall
the
is
thing.
historic.
I couldn't go in there because they're never going to invite me to actually sing. So I was like, okay, here we go. I'm doing this.
But
I'm
for the
doing
viewers
this.
who might forget, musical theater is one of your backgrounds.
Right, but it's not my career. But thank you so much to the great folks at Massey Hall who applauded me very kindly and let me do that. So it's super cool.
That was really cool.
Now closed for 2 years. So we say so long for now to Massey Hall and can't wait to see it reopen again in 2 years because the people who have played there, you guys.
It's amazing.
Oh,
but the
we need
outcome,
it.
like in the basement where they're gonna have that secondary stage for smaller bands, that's so important in the city because so many venues have closed. So the opportunity for smaller bands to have a platform to perform to their fans isn't there like it once was. So now that bands are gonna be able to perform in Massey Hall once it reopens, huge.
So good. So good.